Welcome, everyone, to another edition of CPG Insiders. I'm your host, Mark Young, with co-host Justin Gerard. Justin, we're going to have a conversation today about one of the Jekyll and Hyde secret weapons.
You know, I think it should be everyone's secret weapon, but wait, if we share it, is it still a secret?
It is, and I'm going to tell you why.
Oh.
Because so many people, especially in the ad world, think it's beneath them, think it's old school.
Oh.
Think it's like, why bother? Nobody's paying attention to that anymore.
Come on. That's
How
mean.
many times? Let me tell you, folks, what we're talking about. We are talking about radio.
Don't pigeon people in. And then they're all highbrow about it. They just don't understand, you know? It's just like, Will Smith always said, parents just don't understand. It's the same thing with radio.
Yeah, but Will Smith smacks people in the face on network television, too. So
One time.
From him?
One time.
Sometimes you just get defined by your worst moment, you know?
No way. Fresh Prince will always be in my heart.
Don't know him, but I do know Ribeiro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Alfonso's a great guy.
Alfonso's a super guy. I really like him a lot, and he's a fellow race car driver.
Yeah, and he's a fellow golfer, too.
Yeah, he's a good driver. I don't know how good of a golfer he is, but he's a really good driver.
Yeah.
At any rate, we're talking about radio, and here's the story for us. First, I want you to understand, we're talking about radio. We're talking about local radio. We're talking about national radio, talk radio, syndicated radio, and even podcasting.
Yeah.
So what we're really talking about is audio messaging.
Yes, but to how you started the show, I do think that there may be a perception, in the words of the Bugles, that video killed the radio star, right?
Well, here's the point. How many times in the course of a month do we hear some, don't take this wrong way, but some millennial or Gen Z marketing person tells us no one is watching television.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And no one is listening to radio.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it is and we're going to talk about it, but it's a powerful tactic that I think is underutilized.
So when we're talking about these things, first off, let's dispel the rumor that no one's listening to radio.
Yes.
Are there people listening to Pandora? Yes, which is another form of radio.
Yeah.
Are there people listening to their iTunes selection?
Yes.
Yep, they're out there.
Yes,
but guess what? There are millions and millions and millions of people listening to radio.
And just so that you're not just taking our opinions on this, that's why I wanted to make sure we prepped for this show. And so latest statistics, just to run through a few so that, we can kind of get people caught up to kind of what we know. So number one, in Q1 of this year, stats show that ad-supported audio, so just like you're talking about, right, terrestrial, podcast, streaming, all those things, made up 63% of total listening time in the United States. Okay, that's 63%. And currently, 80% of U.S. adults are still listening to AM, FM radio weekly. So that's approximately 256 million people.
And that's not counting Sirius XM.
Correct, which has somewhere around 35 to 37 million.
37 million
subscribers, right? So first, let's just dispel the myth that, to your point, no one listens to radio.
I'm going to stop here for a second because your camera is just froze. Matt, are you there? So so we're both froze.
You're not froze on my end. Oh, really? I don't have anyone frozen. I can see both of you guys just fine.
Okay, ready to pick back up where you were?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
So as you just said, Bark, right? Let's just dispel the myth that no one listens to radio. That is absolutely not true.
Yeah. So when we're thinking about radio, we got local radio channels.
Mm-hmm.
We have radio syndicators. We have
Yes.
radio ownership groups.
Yes.
We have traffic and weather syndicators. And then we have Sirius XM.
Satellite. Yeah.
So first off, folks, when you're thinking about radio, we're talking about CPG here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not talking about advertising the car lot, the car dealership down the street. Local radio is excellent if you're a local car dealer, if you're a restaurant chain, if you are somebody trying to drive traffic locally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Local radio for a CPG brand is uncontrollable because the CPMs are too high.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting back to, when we talk about CPMs, cost per thousand viewers, we're getting to back to these meta kind of numbers of $20, $30, $40, $50 for 1,000 listeners.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
So this is where you need to have the syndicators, the national talkers, the Sirius XMs. Now, first off, who belongs on radio? Not all CPG products belong on radio. So if your product is demonstrable, radio's not always the best model. I'm going to tell you a time when it can be, but as a rule, it's not usually the best model because I physically can't show you my item. So if I'm trying to sell you, let's say I'm trying to sell you a product that greatly reduces the appearance of fine lines in your face in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I can't
Not
really
a great
show
radio
that.
story.
No.
Because
No.
I can't put up a before and after picture of look at Barbara from Detroit and look
Right.
at her difference in only 15 minutes using Secret Formula X. I can't do it.
No, the only time where you may consider using radio in that is if you're driving to retail and you're using radio as a frequency builder to say, let's just get in front of them again.
Correct. That's what I was going to say. That's when radio works.
Yes.
So if you have a demonstrable product that we have on TV,
Mm-hmm.
and if your demonstrable product is on, we'll say, major news networks, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, Fox Business, CNBC, sports channels, if we're running you on those kind of television networks, then we can buy those networks on Sirius XM, where we know people who listen to Fox News in their car watch Fox News at home. And now we've got a shot to have a radio commercial that is almost identical to the TV commercial so that I can trigger another frequency, because remember, people need to see the spot several times before they react. And now I can trigger another response in their car, and I can do it really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of these national radio spots, for us, we're really good at buying these. For us, we're buying national radio sometimes for under $1 for 1,000 people. So, I mean, that's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, when we're buying radio, it rarely do we ever buy radio where the CPMs are getting over $6.
Yeah, and that's
Rarely.
usually with hosted radio.
Exactly.
So, but let's say that you have a product in CVS and Walgreens, and you have a first aid product, and we've done this. Are you suffering with, heading to the beach this weekend, looking for the right sun care product, blah, 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 pull into a CVS or a Walgreens now, go to the sun care aisle and look for product X.
Mm-hmm.
We literally drive people directly to the store we want them to go and tell them where in the store to find it.
Yep.
And we hit them in drive time. Why? Because I'm in the car, and how is there not a Walgreens, a CVS, or a Walmart on my way home?
Absolutely. Hit them in with an immediacy message, and trigger that response when they're in that moment. We've done something very similar when you're talking about first aid. I mean, remember our campaign with the product Backaid. Extremely successful. And it was extremely successful because we were talking directly to individuals who are dealing with an indication of sciatica. We were talking directly to truck drivers, and so we were able to, through the creative, describe their experience, right? Ooh, that tingling and
And
that
what's so
feeling.
beautiful about that is satellite radio owns the trucking community.
Absolutely.
Because it's the only radio you can listen to where you don't lose the channel as you cross a state.
Yes. So if you are talking to anyone like trucking who are over the road, right, or going across the country,
they all have Sirius XM.
You're guaranteed to be able to reach them there. So we can talk to them about an indication, getting back to backache, where sciatica is big in a big issue for those for truck drivers because they're constantly, causing trauma to that area. So we can talk to them directly, describe their pain, and tell them, by the way, you can take care of it. Just pull into a Walgreens CVS, and they're going, oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to take care of this now.
And the beauty of it is, radio has the ability, like cable TV, radio has the ability to have niche channels.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, there's several trucker channels.
Yeah.
We have trucker channels on Sirius XM. We have trucker channels in syndication, Road Dog, Trucker Radio.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, folks, we customized the spot for the truckers.
Well, of course.
So the spot literally said, if you're driving the open road for 8 and 10 hours, you know the kind of pain that goes into your back and radiates down your leg, like with sciatica.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good buddy, pull into a Walmart, a Walgreens, or a CVS now.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It worked.
It did work. I can't with you.
10-4, good buddy.
I can't.
Keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down.
Gosh. I just can't help but think
I just
of
do that a little too easily,
Yeah, it's a little scary.
It is disturbing for me, even.
It should be.
I think secretly I was a trucker and I didn't know it.
You've lived many lives, sir. Let's just be honest.
Actually, Joe Biden and I were truckers together.
Oh, yeah?
But anyway. So anyway, we both drove 18-wheelers together.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But at any rate, back to where we were, we can get these niches, we can address these people, and we can tell them where to go right now while they're in their car. I'll give you another good example where we've done this. Bob Evans mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, ladies, folks, are you on your way home and thinking about what to make for dinner? Pull into your favorite grocery store now and go to the refrigerated section and look for Bob Evans mashed potatoes and mac and cheese. It's the perfect, 3-minute instant side dish to go along with whatever you're making for dinner.
It is radio, again, when you look at, like you're talking about here, what products are great for or good for radio. The food in general as a category, I think they underutilize radio.
Oh my God,
exactly what you just said, right? If you're in, and everybody's been here, right? I'm in the car. I've got to come up with something for dinner tonight. I haven't even thought about it. What else are you going to be doing? And you're literally thinking about it at that moment, and you can solve their problem right there and tell them this is easy, it's fast, it's delicious, whatever your messaging is. And then if you can give them that idea in that moment, do you think that they want to think about anything else when they go into that store? No, you just solved their problem, and they're going to go buy it right now. And you have a captivated audience, as we talk about a lot when we've had these conversations about television. They don't have anything else to do. Yes, they're driving their car, but you're not competing with other ads at that moment. So you have their undivided attention in the vehicle right now. They're not distracted with other ads. So it's an amazing moment that you can take control of. And like I said, I don't know why more advertisers and more marketers just don't think about it.
Because they think no one's listening to radio. Now, let me give you another one that we've done that was amazing. We had a product that we handled that was for cracked, dry hands that happened in cold temperatures.
Yes. That was
So
a
it
great
gets really
campaign.
cold outside. You get cracked heels, cracked hands.
Yep.
Zim's crack cream. So in this particular case, Justin, we actually ran a national campaign on what's called traffic and weather. So, folks, if you listen to terrestrial radio, that's AM, FM,
Mm-hmm.
you'll notice that your favorite channel will have traffic and weather on the 6s or traffic and weather on the 4s, whatever the case is. And it'll start by saying today's traffic and weather is brought to you by Zim's Crack Cream. Well, we've got a hold up at the I-75 right now, and blah blah blah, and this is so and so in the helicopter, and then we go to a live read. Wow, is it cold outside? And if you're looking at your hands right now on that cold steering wheel and feeling those cracks, pull into a Walgreens, Walmart, or CVS now. Go to the first aid aisle and look for Zim's Crack Cream. Zim's Crack Cream is the only product on the market that will help, heal those cracked hands quickly. Now we're back to weather. Now, why do we do it that way? One, we actually set the buy up so that the commercials only aired when it was 25 degrees or colder outside.
Which is incredible.
So we didn't waste media because we know that it's cold weather that triggered the action.
Yep.
So it's cold outside, and think about it. Traffic and weather. Wow, is it cold outside? If you're suffering from, cold, dried hands and you're feeling the pain on that cold steering wheel, so it's no wasted media. It's absolute yes, yes, yes in the mind of the consumer. Yes, it is cold out and my hands are cracked. And now I'm pull into a Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Target right now, go to the first aid aisle. When we did that, Justin, we saw 75% increase in actual POS in the first week of that campaign.
I mean, it's a way to do mass reach and targeted advertising. That again, I think there's this misconception that you can't have both of those things because the digital marketing has said that's the only way to do it. It's not the only way to do it. You can, and just like you talked about with in that campaign with weather, you can target geographically, and you can break up the creative so that it matches the geography depending on what your product is and who your consumer is. You can
That
do all of these
particular
things.
campaign geographically targeted itself because nobody in Florida was having 25-degree weather.
Exactly. Right.
So it obviously, ran north part of the country.
100%. And when we talk about the other changes that have happened in the advertising landscape, and obviously we're doing this right now in the rise of podcasting, right? You've got all of the podcasts have become huge, and you've got these big podcasters that are influential, and podcasting is a fantastic medium. You can still do the same thing on radio with more efficient CPMs through DJs.
Well, and let me finish a thought on the traffic and weather for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at how that functions, here's the reason that we use traffic and weather. One, we were using trigger response and temperature to maximize the median.
Yeah.
Two, we wanted association to cold weather. So we wanted people who were focused on the weather.
Yeah.
The third reason that we do that is because people who listen to terrestrial radio tend to be button pushers,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't push the button on the traffic and weather.
No, that's why they're listening.
Right, because I want to know what traffic's coming up ahead.
Exactly.
And then here's the last reason. When we do traffic and weather, these are done through syndicators.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, if we do traffic and weather, if we're doing, we'll say Detroit, we'll be on all 30 Detroit radio stations almost at the same time. So the beauty of it is we absolutely carpet bomb every market that we run in.
Yeah.
Because the same traffic and weather companies do all the traffic and weather for everyone.
Yeah.
There's not 35 helicopters flying over the freeway. There's one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I do traffic and weather at the 6s, because the other radio station's doing traffic and weather on the 8s.
Yep.
With the same helicopter pilot who's using a different name when it gets to them.
Right. Right. And
I love some of
and
the names too. Like my favorite was Elaine Changer.
oh, stop it.
That was one of the names they used for the helicopter
Come
traffic.
on.
This is a lane changer with traffic.
That is so punny. Ha
I
ha
know,
ha ha.
but anyways, yeah. So it's the same person with 10 different names.
Right. And and I want to make sure it's clear too that we understand that technology has advanced and there are weather apps now that are free and there are, GPS and all these things. What I don't want, and this is what happens a lot, is what I don't want is for brands and marketers to get lost in their own biases because they say, I would never do that because I've got the weather app on my phone and I
Right.
use my Waze app. And so people don't do that.
Do not
Be
use
very,
yourself as the benchmark.
be very, very careful. Don't get lost in your own bias, right? When you're looking at these, when we're talking about these types of tactics, we can pull the reach numbers and show you that I understand your habits, but you can't get a CPM and reach this many people if no one's doing it. These things have to be reported, so it's still a thing.
Right. I don't need to reach 100% of America. I need to reach enough of America to sell your product.
That's the other piece of it.
So,
Absolutely.
so here's another thing. And again, it sounds like I'm just about to turn into the get off my lawn because I'm talking about I'm talking about the Gen Zs and the millennials that are
Re-
very hyper focused on influencers.
Relax, Graybeard.
We
Relax.
need influencer campaigns, right?
Yeah.
We need an influencer campaign because this person has 500,000 followers on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Rush Limbaugh had 8 million people per quarter hour.
Right. He was pretty influential.
We would do a radio commercial on Rush Limbaugh and we would take 1,500 phone calls in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Radio hosts are the original influencers.
Yes.
They've been
Yes.
influencers since radio was founded. They're the first influencers
Yes.
in mass media.
Right.
And we have great radio hosts, Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck, and there's all kinds of radio hosts out there that we can do incredibly affordable live reads with who have enormous sway over their audiences.
Well, yeah, and we can still do it. We can take some of the, which is interesting, right? Man, I'm almost going to sound like you, but the so when we think about where um, the strategy and tactical execution that comes into play when we talk about social media influencers, and again, what are we trying to accomplish and why are we doing it? Yes, we're doing it because it's a way to reach a certain type of audience because they're influenced by them. It's a way to be able to get messaging through an authority of some kind. All these things, right? Well, as Mark, you just stated, that started with radio hosts. Now, the other thing
Yep.
that when you think about social media influencer campaigns now, especially a lot of the brands that we work with, because they're not the brands that challenger brands that we are working with. They're not they can't afford the social media influencers with massive audiences. It's too expensive for them.
Which is
But
crazy because the radio hosts have bigger audiences.
right. So how do they currently do it? Well, they do it through what's called the micro influencers, right? I'm going to get 15 or 20 and I'm going to win by kind of like this mob mentality and I'm going to do it by mass reach through almost a long tail effect. Well, we do the same thing on radio. We can reach all of the local DJs throughout the country from a
Mm-hmm.
national buy. So we can do the exact same concept just more efficiently and through a radio message because those DJs are in those local markets are still influential. They're still listened to, and they'll do exactly the same thing that you're asking on social media. We'll give them messaging. We'll tell them here's what our goals are, and then they're going to spin it based on their personality, and they're going to spin it based on their audiences to be the most effective. It's the same thing.
Now, here's how we do it, folks. We'll buy 1,000 radio stations
Mm-hmm.
with 1,000 local DJs. We will give them a pre-recorded spot that we've already made for them, and then we hold a contest which is called nurturing. And nurturing is our spot ran. Now the DJ talks about it after the spot ran.
Yeah.
The DJs that do the best nurturing, we give them a prize.
Yeah.
And it's usually a couple $100.
Right.
Because understand, DJs in America today, except the big people, DJs in America today are practically working for food.
Yeah.
On local radio, I mean, what you get paid on local radio, unless you are just a mammoth draw,
Right.
is terrible. It used to be in the millions.
Yeah.
A few years back, local DJ could get a multi-million-dollar contract.
Yeah.
Today, a
Not anymore.
local DJ on radio is lucky to get minimum wage.
Depending on the market in their draw, you're right. But they still have, to your point, they still have a massive impact. And so we and when you're talking about this, again, getting back to the efficiency, when we're talking about doing this across the country, our CPMs are $2-3, people. $2-3
with live read support. So we just ran a spot. Let's say we ran a spot for Back Aid.
Mm-hmm.
And the local DJ will jump on and say, you know what, folks, my wife was suffering with sciatica, and I actually picked up some Back Aid and gave it to her, and she loved this stuff. That's his nurture.
Right.
But here's the thing. This is surprising. This is a study that shows that the majority of people who listen to talk radio hosts, so whether we're talking about Sean Hannity or whoever, or podcast hosts, almost 60%, this is so crazy, almost 60% of people who listen to talkers consider the host a friend.
Well, I mean, it's not crazy because you understand why that is.
Right, but we're not having it. We haven't actually had a conversation.
No.
You're just listening to me.
But I'm inviting you into my life every single day, or whenever your podcast comes out, regularly. So it feels like you are a trusted advisor in my life. And who do you trust? Mostly you trust your friends.
Right. So what's the best way for me to sell your product? The absolute best way for me to sell your product is for me to get a friend of yours to recommend it.
Exactly.
A radio talk show host, a podcast host, they're my friends.
Right. Which is why, as we talked earlier, that podcast, from an advertising perspective, is extremely effective. It just comes back around to, from a tactical perspective, depending on what your goals are, you're paying the same you're having the same issues as you do with Meta. Your CPMs are outrageous.
Well, it depends on the podcast. Some of the podcasts are pretty affordable.
Well, affordability and efficiency aren't the same thing.
No, but I mean, some of the bigger general market podcasts we've been able to get for $5 and $6 CPMs, which is actually pretty valuable.
Yeah.
But as a rule, specialty podcasts run a lot more on a CPM. But that can be okay, because if I want to run an ad selling my anti-aging formula,
mm-hmm.
then to run an ad on Dave Asprey's podcast is worth $30 or $40 $1,000, because it's 100% people who are looking for these products, and he is an incredible influencer with his audience.
Well, and so we also need to make sure, and I'll back up a little bit on myself as well, is who we're talking about. If we are talking about a brand that's in the direct-to-consumer space, and now we can actually read response, and I'm really looking at a measurable attribution of cost per acquisition, you may be able to afford whatever the CPM is because it is paying out. When you're talking about retail and you have to move units in retail stores across the country, again, it could be an ancillary tactic that you can afford to do because there's a certain market you want to support and they're heavy and all those different things. But as a rule, it's probably a little bit too expensive for you to be doing.
Yeah,
goal.
I like podcasting when we're selling direct to consumer. I like terrestrial and satellite radio more when we're driving traffic.
Absolutely, because we need that reach is crucial.
And podcast is basically radio on demand.
Yeah.
When I do satellite, when I do terrestrial radio, I can grab your prime time. I know when you're likely to be in the car. I can direct you to that Walmart store, that Walgreens store right now.
Yes.
It's harder for me to do that with a podcast because you might be listening to the podcast in the gym tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Exactly.
But if you're in drive time, statistically, you're in a vehicle.
Yes.
On your way home.
Right. You were traveling to and from somewhere.
Now, here's one of the other big advantages we haven't touched on. This is the good side and the bad side. The good side is, for the most part, production of radio commercials is really affordable.
Yes.
Because we're not shooting video. And we're doing theater of the mind. And we can do sound effects, and we can do music, and we can hire voice talents, and we can hire multiple voice talents. We can get people that'll sound like a big rig trucker if we need to, or whatever voice we're after.
Yes.
We can do that. We can have Bill Clinton do your radio spot. I did not have sex with that woman. So, anyways,
I can't.
So these are the fun that we can have with radio, but I want people to understand writing radio is a real science and an art, and most people don't know how to do it. And here's the thing: if you go to a local radio station or even a satellite station, they'll offer to write and produce your radio spot for you. And the salesperson who sells you the spot sits down and writes out 120 words, and there's your radio spot, and then gives it to the DJ, and then you say, well, that didn't work very well.
Yeah, you got to be real careful.
Because you need to know how to create the hierarchy of messaging in that spot and walk them through the steps. So we always have to go through the process of getting their attention, getting them to acknowledge we exist, getting them to understand that there's a problem that they have, getting them to understand that we're a solution for the problem they have. Now we need to build their trust. Now we can ask them for some money. So when we don't follow that process, then the results go down.
Yeah. We radio, from a creative standpoint, it is, as you talked about, it's great because it's not cost prohibitive to create. It's also, when we're thinking more in this traditional space, it's more agile than maybe television because, like you said, it's so costly to shoot up a TV commercial. Where if we decide let's make this change on a radio spot, that's easy. That's really easy to do.
Think about our campaign for Nauzene.
Mm-hmm.
So for years we ran a campaign for a product called Nauzene, which is upset stomach formula.
Yep.
We created a game show that we put on radio, and it was called Vomit or No Vomit. God, and it sounded like a game show. And you heard the announcer say, it's time to play Vomit or No Vomit, brought to you by Nauzene.
Such a great campaign.
Now, the first thing, when I say vomit or no vomit, you cannot not see vomit and feel vomit. It's like saying, don't think about a pink elephant right now. You can't not think about the pink elephant.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about the vomit. And the spot when it's time to play Vomit or No Vomit. Now, because it was radio, we could affordably build an ad campaign that fit every indulgent holiday of the year.
Yes.
So we had a Christmas, we had New Year, we had St. Patrick's Day, we had Super Bowl, we had Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving. There was literally a separate ad for each one, which played to the indulgent holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, Bob, here's your question. You're about to head out to the Irish pub and gorge yourself on corned beef and cabbage and green beer. Do you A, vomit, B, drink the pink stuff? Now, think about what we just did. We just neuroassociated vomiting with our biggest competitor, Pepto-Bismol.
Yep.
And we were able to trigger a response in people's brains because everybody has a bad connection to pink stuff.
Yeah, the experience is not good.
No, it's chalky and tastes bad, but
Right.
you were sick.
Right.
So your experience is, oh, God, I know what that feels like. And remember the sound effects. Should you A, vomit, oh, B, drink the pink stuff, and the audience gets even more upset.
Yeah.
Or take fast acting, take, 4-minute formula,
Right.
Nausine. I'm going to go with Nausine, Bob. Correct. This was the campaign, and each holiday had its very own version of the spot. But consumers kept hearing the same gag, but new material. I'll tell you another. Budweiser was amazing at this when they did Real Men of Genius.
Oh, that was another fantastic campaign.
Yes, that was amazing. Real Men of Genius. Here's to
So
you,
good.
Mr. Garden Gnome Painter.
Right.
And they hired the lead singer from the band Survivor. So Survivor was the band who did Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
Very high voice. Here's to you, Mr. Garden Gnome Painter. And then you hear him saying, Mr. Garden Gnome Painter. And what they did is they made a radio campaign with many versions.
Yeah.
Where you looked forward to the next radio commercial.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to hear the next radio commercial. And if you go to YouTube and just type in Real Men of Genius, you will find millions of people have gone to YouTube just to listen to the radio commercials.
Yeah.
Which is just free frequency.
Yeah, exactly.
Because people wanted to hear the gags.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, and again, not humor and a gag isn't always the answer on radio, but sometimes it is. Sometimes, and it depends what you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I talked about this yesterday. If you're selling a product that kind of has a touchy, what's the best way to put it? Forbidden area to it.
Yeah, if you're talking about an embarrassing human experience,
Right. Hemorrhoids, constipation.
Right.
That's a place where humor can lighten up the conversation.
It can connect on a human truth in a way that isn't embarrassing to the person, even though that moment.
Right. So we ran commercials for a product called Recticare, mm-hmm. which is a number 2 hemorrhoid treatment in the country, and we used a donkey because we said hemorrhoids are a real pain in the and had our donkey. Why? Because it's cute, it's humorous, and the other word for a donkey.
Right.
And it got past all the network people who, all of the censors who like to knock off anything that they think might disgust their listener or their viewer.
The anti-fun police.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things we can do. But overall, the real goal here today is to get you to think about radio. And again, it's not right for everything, but sometimes it is. And I want you to understand, this is not an advertising campaign.
No, it's a tactic.
This is a tactic inside an advertising campaign.
Yes.
It is still important to know what is the brand about and what is the brand message and what's the promise that the brand is making, what's the voice of the brand, how do we have continuity across all of our touch points. All of these things need to take place. Mm-hmm. But this is a low price, dirt cheap CPM route to get your product into the marketplace. And here's the beauty of it. It's probably where your competitors are not.
I was just going to say, based on this conversation, and I'm sure if you're listening, you're going, I haven't thought about radio. And that's okay because you're not alone. But what that means is that you most likely have the opportunity to have a 100% share of voice in that medium, which means your dollars, not only now as we talk about from a CPM basis, are more efficient, but then when you think about none of your competitors are in that space taking up mind share, now it's way more valuable.
Right. So they might all be on TV, but if they're not on radio, then you're the only person talking to them about this item in their car.
Right. That's huge.
It is.
It's and for a lot of the challenger brands out here who are, they're trying to go up against these massive ad budgets that they just don't have, that basically are 10x of their current sales. This is just another one of those, as Mark started out the show, with secret weapons that can give you that leg up and allow you to compete so that you can still grow in that landscape. It really is a powerful tool to use if used correctly.
Well, folks, if you want to learn more about radio, I want you to feel free to reach out to Justin or I or anybody at Jekyll Hyde Labs, because we are big believers in radio, and the successes that we have had for CPG and radios have been phenomenal. Yes. So we're always happy to discuss that with you. You can always find us at jekyllhydelabs.com or at cpginsiders.com. And I think we'll wrap up. I think we covered everything, Justin.
Absolutely. No, I would agree. So again, thank everyone for listening. And if you need any more information or curious about anything, just reach out.
And if you would, wherever you get your podcast, go leave us a 5-star review. And if you're not subscribing to the show, hit the little subscribe button. And other than that, we'll see you on the next episode of CPG Insiders. If you're looking to greatly increase sales on your CPG product, don't hesitate to contact us at Jekyll & Hyde Advertising and Marketing. By the way, the only advertising agency with a guaranteed result. Just go to jekyllhydeagency.com or feel free to give us a call at 800-500-4210.